Hey guys, so this question and issue has been addressed like a million times, but a lot of people have asked me what is the offset and the back spacing on the stock Jeep wheels. Well, those are on the truck currently, so I'm going to use this aftermarket wheel as an example. If you look on the back of your wheel, any alloy wheel should be stamped with the size and load rating and all that stuff on it. Now this particular wheel you can see is a 17 by 8.5, so it's 17 inches diameter, 8.5 inches wide. The J just refers to the style of the wheel, like with the the bead area and all that. Okay, so there's your size. On this particular wheel, the the offset is stamped over here. It's a positive 10. So you also, when you're trying to figure out what the center line of the wheel is, you also have to account for the lip. So you add an inch to that width. So instead of 8.5, you'd have 9.5, which means the center line is 4.75 inches. So if you were to cut this wheel perfectly in half and half, you'd have to go 4.75 inches and make your cut. So if you take that positive 10 millimeters, which is just shy of a ½ inch, and you add it to your center line, you come up with about 5.1 inches or so. So that means the back spacing on this wheel, the distance from this bead to the mounting flange on this particular wheel, is 5.1 inches. I can't remember what the box said. I think the box actually had like 5.15 inches or something like that. But that's basically how you calculate that. Now on the factory Jeep wheels, I've seen just about every wheel they've put on a Wrangler or a Gladiator since, gosh, 2007, I guess, and they're all exactly the same width, 7.5 inches. There's one exception I can think of, and that was the early JK models. The base Sports actually had steel wheels on them that were 7 inches wide. But all of the alloy wheels have always been 7.5 inches wide. And if you look at the stamp back there for the offset, it says positive 44.45. So on this particular wheel, if you did the math on it, 7.5 inches wide, you add an inch to account for the lips, so that's 8.5 inches. Cut that in half, and that means your center line is 4.25 on this wheel. But then you've got that positive 44 millimeter offset, which is just shy of 2 inches of offset. So you add that to the 4.25, and what you come up with is about 6.1 inches. So the offset is 44, a little over 44, and the back spacing is a little over 6, about 6.1 inches. And like I said, that's true on the Gladiator wheels, the Wrangler wheels, JK, JL, JT, it doesn't matter. 6.1 inches of back spacing. So that kind of gives you an idea of why it is that these will stick kind of, up under the fenders, and an aftermarket wheel like that has less back spacing is going to stick out a little bit farther. Now you're probably wondering why it is that I put the factory wheels and tires back on here. I'm going to plan on doing some towing. Like I said, I'm trying to get a towing video together for this weekend. Going to try and hook a big heavy load behind this truck and do a test with it to see how it performs in the real world with a pretty heavy trailer behind it. And I thought it would only be fair to do that if I'm using the stock wheels and tires. Now there's a possibility, because I just can't stand these little bitty donut tires on these trucks, there's a possibility that I may throw a slightly larger, I should have said, tire on here. But I'm going to keep the weight pretty similar. If I do that, I'm going to go with something really lightweight so I don't affect anything as far as the performance of the truck goes. But anyway, that's why I threw those back on there. Get the fuel economy back up and the performance, braking, acceleration, pulling power, all that back to where it should be from the factory, so that the towing test, if I get to do it, which I'm really hoping that I am, that way it'll be fair. So that's what's up with that. Meanwhile, Dixie's over here chilling, because once again, it's super hot out here. Now, here's one other question a lot of people have asked. Let's say that you have a JK Wrangler and you see a set of JT Gladiator wheels, or maybe even JL Wrangler wheels on Craigslist or Marketplace or something for sale, and you want to bag those up and put them on your JK model Wrangler, will they fit? The answer is yes and no. The bolt pattern is the same, 5 on 127 millimeter, which is the same as 5 on 5. Okay, so the bolt pattern's the same and the wheels will slide on there, but the JK had a different lug stud, so you won't be able to use these lug nuts. You'll have to use a JK specific lug nut. That's the only thing I'm aware of. They increased the size of the lug studs for a little bit more ruggedness and a little more load carrying capacity, I guess. So if you got a JK, you can put the newer wheels and tires on your Jeep. You just got to use your lug nuts, or if it's an aftermarket wheel like this one, you can't even use a stock style lug nut. You got to get something that's going to go down inside there, because see how it's kind of recessed? The holes are kind of recessed, so there's not enough space in there to get that big fat factory acorn nut to go in there. So you'll have to get some aftermarket lug nuts that are JK specific. You know, same kind of deal if you've got like a JL or a JT. Let me get this tire put away so it doesn't roll away on me. But if you've got one of these new trucks or Jeeps and you want to put JK wheels on there, same deal, you can put them on there, but you got to use your specific lug nuts to make it work. Hey there, Nimbus. Gosh, these things are dirty. They need to be washed. They've been in the barn for a while. There's one other thing I want to address, and that's the load capacity or load rating of the wheel itself. Now, when this Gladiator was being revealed at all the auto shows and everything last winter, Jeep made a really big deal about the fact that the wheels themselves are going to be unique to the Gladiator, because they were going to have a higher load rating to handle the hauling and towing that this truck was expected to do in its lifetime. So I have searched and searched and searched all over the back of this wheel for a stamped load rating, and the only number I was able to find that would make sense for a load rating was one that said 2014. Now, it didn't say kilograms or pounds or anything, it just said 2014. I'm assuming that that's the load rating. I haven't confirmed that yet, but 2014 pounds would be kind of low, because that aftermarket wheel right there is stamped 2,500 pounds, and I saw a JL Rubicon wheel that was stamped 2017. So if that number is in fact the load rating on this wheel, then that means that this wheel is not a higher load capacity than the Wrangler, which is very interesting. If there's anybody out there that's got specific info on this, post below and let us know, because that's a question a lot of guys have. We really would like to know what the actual load rating is on this wheel. Like I said, if you look at the stamps on the back, none of them would make sense for a load rating except for that one number. So, you know, maybe it's 2014 pounds, which again would not be greater than what's on the Wrangler. But anyhow, that's the best I have figured out so far. If you guys know a little bit more than me, post below and give us an idea what's going on here. I'm being loved on by this cat, oh goodness. So I guess this video has been sabotaged. So one more thing I'll address here is the weight, because weight does affect your performance, your acceleration, braking, towing performance, fuel economy. All of that is directly affected by the weight of your wheel and tire combo. Unsprung weight kills. And a lot of guys these days are really searching for combos that are lighter in weight. What I've noticed is that on the Gladiator, the sport wheels, the wheel and tire combo is about 55 pounds. Okay, so 55 pounds on this stock sport wheel and tire combo. Now, the interesting thing about it is that on the Rubicon Gladiator, they're using a Falcon Wild Peak tire, and it's either the all-terrain or the mud-terrain. You get a choice, but let's talk about the all-terrain to make it apples to apples. That wheel is 23 pounds. The tire is like 64 pounds. You do all the math on that with your balancing weights and everything, you come out to about 88 pounds, okay? I can't believe that they're using a wheel and tire combo on a stock truck that's 88 pounds. That's crazy. So if you got a Rubicon and you're wondering why it is that you get such miserable fuel economy compared to the sports and the overlands, that's why. Those wheels and tires are extremely heavy. And the bad thing about it is that's just a 6-ply load range C tire. And it weighs as much as most 10-ply load range E tires. So, you know, you might want to think about that if weight is a big deal for you. Next time around, go with a tire that's a little more lightweight. I love the Falcon tires. They're excellent tires. They're very rugged, which is why they weigh so much. But if weight is a big deal to you, you know, that's not the brand of tire you want to go with. Those things are super heavy. So you go, you know, 55 pounds here, 88 on the Rubicon. That's a gigantic difference in unsprung weight. So anyhow, little video here talking about tire and wheel science, I guess. All right, Cat, you're gonna have to leave me alone. Man, it sure is a beautiful night out here. Maybe we should load up and head back down to the river and watch the sun go down. Hey guys, I'll be back later on. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.